Assalamu alaikum, my dear students. How are you? I hope that all of you are well by the grace of Almighty Allah. I am fine too. Welcome you all to NIBS Home School. This is Mahmudur Rahman, Assistant Teacher of English, National Ideal English Version School. Today I am going to take an English second paper class for the students of class 9. Our today's topic is voice change. I repeat again, our today's topic is voice change. Okay, let's see the board at first. This is the class for the students of class 9. Subject English second paper, topic voice change, and we will discuss on assertive sentences. Today lecture number 5 and your homework number is also 5. I repeat again, this is your lecture number 5 and your homework number also 5. Your term half yearly, and this is your teacher's name, Mahmudur Rahman. Okay, let's start the class. At first we will learn what is voice. Voice is the form of a verb which is used to say what people or things do or what is done to them. That means a voice explains what people or things do or what is done to them. There are two terms here. Number one, through voice we can learn the deeds of people or thing, and another term is that something is done to the people or thing. Both the cases are learned from voice change. So from these terms, voice is of two types. Number one, active voice, and number two, passive voice. Active voice. Active voice is the form of a verb which is used to say what the subject does. I repeat again, active voice is the form of a verb which is used to say what the subject does, and the passive voice is the opposite. Passive voice is the form of a verb which is used to say what happens to the subject. In the first case, that means in active voice we will learn about the action of the subject, and in the passive voice we can learn what is done to the subject. For example, active voice, subject, verb, object. Here he writes a letter. Here subject is he, verb writes, and object is a letter. If we transform it into passive voice, we will find subject, a letter is written by him. A letter is written by him. For your kind information, I can say that in terms of passive voice, that means when you make a sentence in passive voice, you have to add auxiliary verbs according to number, person, and tense. So the first thing of changing a voice is to finding out the subject and object. So we will learn what is object. How can you identify the object of a sentence? Look at the sentence. She gives me a book. She gives me a book. Gives is the verb of this sentence. If you question or if you ask the verb with the words what or whom, the answer you get is the object of a sentence. For example, she gives me a book. Here, if you ask what does she give, you will find the answer a book. So this is the object. Again, she gives me a book. Whom does she give? If you ask in the verb, if you make a question, then you will get the answer me. So this is also the object. So you can see here that in this sentence there are two objects, me and the book. When a thing is the object of a sentence, then we call it direct object, and if the object of a sentence is a person, then we call it indirect object. We have to put a full stop here. Okay, now rules of changing active from active to passive voice. There are some basic rules to change active voices into passive voice. Number one, object becomes subject. Number two, auxiliary verb according to tense. Number three, past participle of the main verb. And number four, preposition by, with, to, these are added. And number five, subject become object. That means in this transformation of active to passive, at first the subject becomes the object and object becomes the subject. You have to add auxiliary verbs according to tense, and the past participle of the main verb will be used, and a preposition like by, with, through is added before the object. Now we will learn auxiliary verbs according to tenses. There are different tenses. We know that there are 12 tenses, but for voice change we will take only 9 tenses, because the perfect continuous tense, that means present perfect continuous, past perfect and future perfect continuous tense, these 3 tenses are not allowed in voice change, or the voice change of these 3 tenses are not used. So in present indefinite tense we will use am, is, are as auxiliary verb. In present continuous tense, am being, is being and are being, and in present perfect tense, have been or has been, or has been. Okay, in past indefinite tense we will use was or were. In past continuous tense, was being, were being, and in past perfect tense, had been. In future indefinite tense, shall be or will be. In future continuous tense, shall be being, will be being, and in future perfect tense, shall have been and will have been are used as auxiliary verb. Shall have been. So these are the list of auxiliary verbs. Now we will learn some use of defective verbs. These verbs are also called modal verbs. If you find this, they will be changed into the column you can see in the right side. So can will be transformed into can be, could will be could be, shall be, should be, will be, would be, may be, might be, must be, used to be, and ought to be. That means you have to put extra be with each of the words. Now we will learn the subject and object, that means the objective form of different subjects. If you find subject as I, it will be transformed as me, he will become him, we, us, they, them, she, her, you, Arif, Mahmud, the boy, the girl, who will become by whom, and whom will become who. So these are the subjective and objective form of different subjects. So this is the discussion of today's class. You will have some homework for today's class. There are some sentences here. Active, she writes a letter. At first you have to identify the tense of this sentence, and then you will change using auxiliary verbs and the past participle form of the main verb. Number 2, she is calling me. Number 3, the teacher has advised us. Number 4, I lost my watch. Number 5, they were making a stage. Number 6, I had done the sum. Active, I shall see a bird. Next one, you will have drawn the map, and the last one, we can do it. So this is your homework, your HW number 5. So my dear students, I hope that you have understood today's topic, and you will be able to solve all these problems. If you find further problems, then of course ask your teachers and contact them, see the online YouTube classes, and participate in the online and physical classes regularly. See you in the next class. Allah Hafiz.